certain it's a dog and not a wolf. Did he see up close? It'd be a shame to waste time looking for a wolf mistaken for a dog.
Right behind you.
That's so sweet. Do I really need an excuse to kiss you? Just you and me against the world now. Not that I'm complaining. Just what I wanted.
You make a move towards my neck and I will snap your fangs off. Alright then. Are you holding up okay? Yes, I suppose I could. I have a few that may be entertaining. How about a story about a young Celsius thinking on his feet? Growing up in Lothanis, I was a bit out of place. There weren't many Argonians around those parts, let alone a child. Initially, Dunmer children and adults alike would call me names as I passed them in the street. I got into a fight with a group of them once. 4 Dunmer boys, very much bigger than me. They were quite confident they could take me on, which they were very much right about, if it was during normal circumstances. I had just been to the market when the fight went down. I had been buying some things for Vela Oren for use in experiments that day. Thinking quickly, I threw some of the ingredients into my mouth and chewed them into a thick liquid. When the Dunmer boys tried to grab me, I spat in their face. Initially, they froze from shock. Then they froze from the paralysis potion taking effect. One of them was left standing, the leader of the group. He was standing some paces away from the others. I grabbed a few more of the ingredients I had bought and chewed them once more. The boy was unsure if he should run at me or away from me. I then spat into a bottle I had with me and handed it to him. I told him it'd help his friends out and asked them to leave me alone. He took the bottle and I headed back to Relevant Sul's tower. Vela scolded me for wasting ingredients on a silly fight that would make Sul look bad. It was worth it to me though. Those boys never bothered me again, and I actually made friends with some of the other dumber children. Apparently that group of boys were terrorizing all the other kids in Lothanis. Sul didn't seem particularly bothered either, though at that point he hardly knew who I was. That's very kind of you to offer. I think I'd be able to make myself at home here. Until next time.
I'm glad you're here with me.
One home-cooked stew coming right up. Here's some home-cooked stew, freshly made.
What now?
Sure thing. Do you want to have it standing here, or do you want to find a seat first? All right. What do you need? I'm on it. Here should be fine. So, are we ready to start? Hurry up then, I don't have all day. So, are we ready to start? Alright, now on to the drinks. Do you want to have mead, wine, or just plain milk? Oh, I see. Now, let's see what I have here. I procured these in Riften the last time I was there. First, we have the Cliff Racer. Firebrand wine, Cyrodiilic brandy, Flynn, and Sujama. A drink for the daring. Next up, we have some Dragon's Breath mead. A drink worthy of someone as fiery as you are. Then, there's the Velvet La Chance, which is a mixture of blackberry, honey, spiced wine, and a touch of nightshade. Perfectly safe, in moderate amounts. Well, you're feeling brave today. Likewise. Sometimes, I kind of wish that we weren't so... how do you say this? Well, renowned. At this point, most of Skyrim has heard of your name, and half of it is trying to kill us. It seems like it's almost impossible to have a nice, leisurely stroll outside city walls without getting pounced upon or attacked. If we could, I would like to just leave here, you know, travel to some distant place, settle down, live the peaceful life. Not to be known or seen as heroes or great warriors, but as simple country folk, really. Blackreach truly was amazing, wasn't it? An entire underground ecosystem. I don't think there's anything else like it in Tamriel. I knew about it, back in the day, but just seeing it for myself was truly something else. If I could choose, I'd definitely live with the vampires over there, rather than back on Castle Volkihar. I was just thinking about some alchemical principle. You first need to understand the structure of what you're trying to transmute. Like what wheat is made out of, and how those properties fit into making a health potion. Then there's deconstruction. You break down the wheat into a more malleable state, along with the other ingredients. Finally, there's reconstruction. You use the energy and materials created from the deconstruction to make what you're trying to make, like the health potion. So, what do you want to talk about now? Honestly, I think I'm doing better each and every day, thanks to you being there for me. I mean, without you rescuing me from that dark pit, I don't know where I'd be today. I've learned to not let the mistakes or what's happened in the past to weigh me down. I acknowledge them and take what I've learned to move on. All right. So, what do you want to talk about now? If I know my history right, every great empire has its rise and its fall. We've had the Alessian Empire, Remens, the Septums, and now the Medes, all of which have risen to great prominence, but eventually fell due to a variety of reasons, whether it be inner strife, turmoil, or the rise of another great power, like the Dominion. And as this old Mary Dominion rises, it's inevitable that they will fall. As for when, only history. No mortal empire lasts forever. That's just always been the case, really. Alright, so, what do you want to talk about now? Riverwood. It's just nice, really. Sometimes, it's nice to just get away from the bustling cities. A lot of them feel so cramped. The countryside is just different, you know? Alright. So, what do you want to talk about now? Oh? Which one? Back on the island, at least, besides my mother, he was one of the only people on my father's court who cared for me. I would never forget the times we'd play and cast playful spells together. Or that time he cast invisibility to hide me from my mother. For one who abandoned his house, family, and could have very well been seen as a deserter, he was family to me. Alright. So, what do you want to talk about? Oh? Which one? Ugh, don't get me started on her. She rubs me off the wrong way. Not my type. Alright. So, what do you want to talk about now? Oh? Which one? Does Lydia ever think about herself? She's only ever talked about duty. Nothing about what she likes, dislikes, what gets her out of the haybed every morning. Alright. So, what do you want to talk about now? Good question. I haven't really thought about that, actually. Do I really? Oh, well, I guess it's because I've always been fascinated about their culture. Silt striders, how you worship Daedra, which would otherwise be considered taboo by other cultures, living in mushroom houses. That, and I also think that these Dunmer words roll off the tongue and are rather amusing to say. It's nice, spending time like this, just having drinks together. Wow, just sensing your magicka reserves. You truly are incredible.
Just you and me, against the world now.
I've been thinking about an ideal home for us. You know, somewhere to settle when we're done adventuring. I know this might sound odd, but I wouldn't mind living in a cave. Or a grove, really. Something like the Ancestor Glade.
Yes?
Yeah, good idea. I am kind of sleepy.
Zoo, Biko Gel. Good. I was wanting to rest a bit.
Morning. Looks like you slept well.
Yes? Alright. I expected there would be some conditions to our little agreement. Go on. Wealth beyond measure. Of course. What are you wondering about? I am currently a lawman without a master. Originally, when I was brought in as a hireling, my superior was Vela Oren. She was the tower alchemist in Tel Sur. Her superior was Master Relevant Sur. As I rose past the level of hireling, he would become my master as well. I spent many of my formative and young adult years under Master Sur. He initially cared little for me, but over time we grew to respect each other a great deal. A few years back he was assassinated. I then left Tel Sur and moved to Port Tervanis. I would spend my time in Port Tervanis mostly doing freelance work, but I did not find a new master. It was Vela Oren who suggested I go see Helseth Wren. Me and Vela are still in touch. I should send her some samples from Skyrim next time I write her a letter. I should mention you then as well. I think we get along well enough. Well, I already told you where I was headed. I suppose what you're asking is, why not just take a boat to Rivenspire? It has been quite the trek from Port Tervanis to here, I will admit. I wanted to actually see Tamriel. I haven't travelled much in the past. Blackmarsh and Morrowind, sure, but not past the Velothes. I also thought I could do some field study along the way. Maybe get a hold of some rare ingredients. Thought perhaps I'd make some important connections that could aid me in the future. I don't regret it. It has been a really rewarding experience. Okay, Bicogel. Yes, Bicogel. I'm ready to go. Enough of that conversation, I guess.
What now?
Oh, what is it? Well, aren't you generous?
My friend died. Things won't be the same without her.
Look, I won't judge you, but you should know that skooma is not really something one should partake in. You've got a few bruises, but you'll be alright. Did you have a specific one in mind? I could tell you the story of the first time I impressed Master Su. When I was a young hireling, I would occasionally pilfer a few plants from the Tower Conservatory. It would be common things like coda flowers or trauma root. I'd mix a few of these stolen plants together to make some potions that would allow me to levitate, but also be invisible. I used the potions to float up to the top of Relevant Soul's tower in order to get a nice view of Lothanis. Sul had specifically told me that I was not allowed to climb the tower. One time it seemed that one of my ingredients had gone off, as the invisibility effect wore off quickly. Sul caught me sitting on top of the tower one evening. Rather than scold me, he seemed to be impressed. At that point we had hardly spoken. He only knew I was Oren's assistant. He challenged me to make a potent enough levitation potion that could take him to Ranyon Rune and back. I returned to the tower conservatory, this time able to use whatever plants and ingredients I wanted. After a few hours of tasting and experimenting with a variety of ingredients, I returned to Sul. He handed one of his servants a large sack of gold and told him to drink the potion. Sul asked him to go to Ranyon Rune, purchase 3 portions of ebony, and return. After a while, the servant returned, 3 portions of ebony in hand. When the servant had almost reached the tower, the potion wore off. He plummeted towards the ground, thankfully landing in the bay. I did not pass Sul's challenge, but I had far surpassed his expectations. He knew that the ebony had not been part of my calculations. From then on, he would always stop by the apothecary to see me when he could, sometimes giving me some new ingredients to work with. That incident was the catalyst for my journey up through the ranks of House Telvanni. Good talk.
You sure you don't need me to take some of that weight? Doesn't look pleasant.
I am not an individual species. Stay down.
Not leave it alive.
You have my back, and you have my back, and I'll have your joint.
crazy.